Welcome to Corner of the Galaxy, the show that talks 100% LA Galaxy soccer. We're glad you could join us. Now it's time to sit back and relax as your hosts navigate through the twisting, turning, but never boring world of the five-time MLS Cup champion, LA Galaxy.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com, coming to you live from Corner of the Galaxy Studios on Thursday, March 21st. This is an international break, so that means there's absolutely no reason for us to be here. I don't know. We'll figure something out. No, we got a lot to talk about. Injury updates from training, some other MLS and LA Galaxy news. I think the U.S. men's national team and Sebastian Lletget just finished up, or will be finishing up as we're recording this. So we'll have just a little tiny update on that as well. And, of course, we're going to get into, with all the March Madness going on, we have our very own Sweet 16 bracket of we're going to call Corner of the Galaxy Madness, I think, COG Madness for you. So we're going to play along with that and give you guys a chance to play along as well. But in order to do all that, we have to stop, we have to pause, we have to genuflect respectively. It is the Hammer himself, Mr. Eric, the Portuguese Hammer, in the studio once again. Hammer, how's it going, buddy?
It's going well.
All right.
I'm glad to be back as we genuflect.
As we genuflect on,
I don't,
that means kneeling, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm in a seat. It's bye week. Yay, everybody.
Bye-week.
It's party time. For the clubs that matter, at least, it's bye week.
People want to know, by the way, why you have the nickname Hammer. I know we've talked about this.
There's a story.
Is it PG?
Yeah, it's
I don't.
G.
It doesn't.
It's actually G.
It's rated G. Wow, that's too bad.
It's really not as exciting as I wish it was.
As your wife makes it out to be.
Yeah.
All right, that's fine.
But that's a story for another time.
Of course. But
it is bye week. Maybe we'll circle back around.
Okay.
The Hammer origin story.
People were asking me where I got the Pato one, and I've recently explained that one. And then somebody asked when Kevin got Panda, and I have no idea. And Kevin has like a different recollection than I do of how he got it, but I just know that he's the Panda.
Yeah.
So
I will say that in general, I'm against kind of pumping up your own nickname.
You can't
do that. And so
that's why Kevin does it constantly.
This is one that was given to me, and so I've rolled with it. But Kevin did give it to himself, so I don't know.
How do you?
I don't know.
You can't.
But now it's in,
and
it's
now
right. Yeah, exactly.
And it's right. It's not like it was wrong.
It's fitting.
Yes.
It works.
Okay.
Speak it into existence.
All right, that's good. The LA Galaxy no game this week. Will next play on March 31st. Oh, that date feels familiar.
That's a special day.
That is a special. In fact, it's a special week next week as well.
I now declare it an LA Galaxy holiday. Let's just call it that.
It very well be. But as we know, at this time last year, or actually next week last year, it will be basically the anniversary of Zlatan Ibrahimovic actually flying across the pond and landing here in Los Angeles, and then all of us in here talking on the podcast and saying there is no way that guy is going to play in that game against LAFC. You're all crazy. So yeah, that's how it is. By the way, they're saying if you don't tell the story, they're boycotting the thing. So tell everybody how you got hammered.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hammer,
why not?
It's really not exciting. So the other podcast that I'm on, Guys in Shorts, a lot of those guys I've been friends with for a good chunk of my life, and we had a bowling outing at a bowling alley. That's
bowling alley outing. Yes.
And I just got bored one day and not one day that day and grabbed a 6-pound ball and just started hurling it down. And they said, "You're hammering it down there. You're like the Portuguese hammer." And so they called me that for a couple of weeks, and it went away. And it went away for about 5-6 years. But then when we started the podcast, a good friend of mine, Jeff Wilson, he introduced me. He says, welcome to the show, Eric, the Portuguese Hammer Vieira. I was like, where did that come from? And he's like, and that whole episode, he name checked me. And Hammer, what do you think about that? And he just kept doing it.
Yeah.
And then, as people listened, it kind of stuck. And, you've been on that show and you heard me there as the Hammer, and you brought me on here as the Hammer. So it's really not exciting. It comes from me getting bored at a bowling alley and chucking 6-pound balls down the lane. And that's where it came from. But it really, not an exciting story, but it somehow stuck.
So your other nickname now is 6-pound balls.
6-pound balls.
Okay, cool.
Eric 6-pound balls Vieira maybe isn't the best nickname to have out there.
Oh,
I should change that story.
Whoa, we're having fun here at least.
It's a bye week.
Yeah, quick reminder here before we get too far. Corner of the Galaxy shopping as you will. We have everything out there right now. I swear, if you can think of it, we have it. We have coasters, we have stickers, we have buttons, we have scarves, and we have T-shirts. I mean,
onesies, beer koozies. What else can we get into?
I would love to make some onesies. That's a great idea. Let's see if we can make that happen. But no, so anything you want, Corner of the Galaxy, click on the shop button. All of our T-shirts, again, run in in campaigns that are basically validated and started by you. So if you want to go, sort of, hey, I want that shirt, you click on it, and if the campaign isn't already running, you just started the campaign again. So go on there. I think some of the ones that are closing literally tonight on Thursday night.
Act now,
or just do it tomorrow, and wait a couple
again.
weeks. Yeah, it'll open again. I think we have the Lion of Los Angeles ones are going, and maybe a Pato and Panda and Pato T-shirt.
I like how you said that. Pato and Panda.
Yeah,
maybe one of those units are moving.
Surprisingly, those ones have actually sold a lot of again. So I think there's about 10 of those going out. We also have the 2019 Corner of the Galaxy logo shirt that if you're watching on YouTube, you can actually see on your screen right now. But that shirt is for sale right now, and I think it goes on for another couple weeks, and it'll go on after that as well, all through 2019.
And again, if you're collecting the whole set, the 2019 is a must-have.
You can't just stop.
Yeah, exactly. If you have the 2018, you can't have a gap in the years. You need to continue. Get the 2019, add the little flare around the logo.
Otherwise, you're going to sit there and you're going to be like, I should have got that one.
Exactly.
You're going to see people at the game, and you're going to be like, oh, gosh, Josh looks so sexy in that 2019 logo shirt. That's what I hear all the time. But anyway, yeah, you can go and check that out. cornerofthegalaxy.com. Click the shop button. The coasters are there in limited quantities. The buttons are there. I've sent some of those out, so do it.
Good times.
See how it goes. We got somebody from Seattle checking in, by the way. So Seattle, not too bad. Ichiro.
Yeah.
Ichiro retired today.
He's in Tokyo, not in Seattle, but still.
But he was with Seattle.
It was with Seattle. I hear you. I hope the time changed. I hope you're able to, thanks for staying up in Seattle watching with us.
Yeah, but still. Anyway, yeah.
Wait, that's Pacific time? Oh, man.
My wife was... This is why an off-week show is always one you have to catch, by the way. We're going to give you all the constant sort of sidebars that we can, right?
Yeah,
my wife was in
Vegas.
My wife was in Vegas on a conference. She called me, and she goes, I don't even know what time it is there. She goes, is it the same time? And I'm like, no. I go, we're 5 hours ahead, right? And she was like, wait, what time is it there? I'm like, yeah, it's the same. It's the same. Don't
do her like that.
I know.
Come on.
It's too easy how it goes. Anyway, all right. So we go on. Let's talk about some LA Galaxy stuff. Why not?
Is that why we're here?
I don't. Again, it's an off week. Sometimes I don't know. We have a little bit of LA Galaxy news. We want to get to that. Julian Araujo, who made his MLS debut last week against Minnesota United when he had 250 plus family and friends visiting from Lompoc.
They were loud and they were rowdy. I was Julian Araujo fan club adjacent. And it was fun. It was fun when you realized who they were there for, and they were kind of making some noise with him training off to the side and, starting the 22 chant, trying to get him on the field. I mean, that's cool. When you have one of your own and to be there in person to watch him make his debut, it's a great story.
Yeah, it is. And so the kid comes on. I got to talk with his parents. I think Kevin and I talked about it on Monday, on Sunday. We had a Sunday podcast this week. But we talked about that, talking to his parents, and just the sort of special story. I know Kevin's working on a story for the LA Times for that. So keep your eyes peeled on that. And it's a fun story for this 17-year-old kid who basically the Galaxy decided they wanted so bad they waived all of his homegrown rights. So he is a call-up for the U23 U.S. national team. He is now called up under that team for U23 new head coach Jason Kreis. So Jason Kreis, RSL, Orlando City, and New York City. Did I get them all? Yeah,
I think so.
In MLS? Yeah. So that's
prolific goal scorer, Jason Kreis. That's how I remember him.
That's him as well.
His coaching record isn't what stands out for me.
He was always very good with RSL. That was sort of his team though. Like whenever you look at some of the other places, Orlando's still a mess.
Yeah.
So let's not. And New York City,
expansion. Yeah, they were one of the Orlando, Minnesota. It feels like that's the expansion where it doesn't go so swimmingly. And so, yeah, I think when you think of him as a coach, I do remember him more for his time at RSL and what he was able to do there.
Yeah, it was fun to watch. So anyway, he's there. The U.S. U23 team, which is the Olympic team.
I was just going to add, just why this is important is because this has potential to be a team that goes to the Olympics. And granted, it hasn't gone that way. Hasn't been a particularly strong showing from these teams in past years. It's been a while since they've made it to the Olympics, but potentially this is the team that they would send.
Yeah, this is the team that they would send. They have two games coming up, Egypt on Friday, March 22nd, and Netherlands on Sunday, March 24th. I believe both those games are in Spain, if I remember correctly.
So at the same time as Seattle, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly how it goes. So Araujo there, and expected to be a big part of this team. I mean, this is a kid who's highly touted. They want him. I mean, senior team debuts in the next 2 years for him probably aren't out of the range either. That's the same with, Efrain Alvarez in Mexico. I mean, you have to figure Mexico is chomping at the bit to get him.
I feel like his path, if we're going to dovetail into Efrain, I feel like his path, a lot of people are saying after his debut for the Galaxy, well, the U.S. needs to get involved, get him capped. I think he's already in the system in Mexico. I think that's a done deal. I think he's going to be playing.
It feels done.
Yeah. So I think we'll be seeing him, and this is a good thing because Mexico traditionally has had a very competitive international squad, and if he's going to spend a lot of time with the Galaxy, that's where you want him to develop. If he's comfortable there, playing against top talent, playing with top talent, that's a good thing.
Yeah, it is.
From a Galaxy perspective.
Yeah,
not from a U.S. soccer perspective.
you know me. I take certain umbrage with the fact that MLS constantly touts the U.S. men's national team like it's their team.
I was gonna say, not just the U.S. men's national team. I have Canada and French Guiana on the MLS website. I was like, wait, what? Is that a new expansion team? I thought it was just Cincinnati. I didn't realize French Guiana. But yeah, MLS.
It's
pumping CONCACAF there.
It's ridiculous. And that, I'd be okay with more of that. But it's sort of like, okay, so if you're gonna put that on, then every team that has a player that is international, put their game on there too.
Well, I think it's MLS has teams in Canada and teams in the U.S. Yes. So those are the two.
This is ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. The fact
here I am, MLS spokesperson.
Yeah, I was
Eric, the 6-pound balls Vieira is going to defend Major League Soccer.
I mean, it's going to take some huevos in order to try to defend Major League Soccer as it is. No, Major League Soccer talks about both sides of its mouth, where it's like, oh, well, we're here to develop the U.S. men's national team. No, you're not, and you haven't been for a while. It's been quite evident, as a matter of fact. And by the way, nor should you be. I don't care. That's not my thing. Your league
working in tandem is not a bad thing.
Yeah, but at the expense of what? Are you trying to make a successful league, or are you trying to promote the U.S. men's national team? Because if you're trying to promote the U.S. men's national team, then you should have a restriction on international players, and you should mandate that U.S. soccer players.
Which they're not. Which is, I agree, they're not doing it, and it's not in their best interest to do it.
Of course not.
You want to make the league successful, and putting minutes restrictions on American youth players would impact the. Say what you will about the league. Quality definitely would take a dip if you had those mandates, but at the same time, maybe there's a happy balance. Here I am talking out of both sides of my mouth.
There is no happy balance. There is either you were doing this like they pretend that they are. They pretend that's the problem that I have. I'm all for being like the U.S. men's national team is not yes, we succeed when they succeed, which is totally true. They ride the wave. When the U.S. men's national team is better, MLS tends to rise, especially during World Cup years.
And especially if you have MLS players contributing on the national team level, that's a good thing for the league. So I could see the rationale, but as far as supporting the youth part of it, that's not happening.
It's ridiculous. Throw it all out. But speaking more of MLS news and something that certainly impact the league, will impact the LA Galaxy, will impact everything else, is the fact that MLS and MGM Resorts International announced a multi-year gaming partnership. And no, they're not talking video games, although I'm sure they're going to come up with some sort of game that you can play on your phone.
I'm here for EMLS.
We are the EMLS. I'm sure you could find a place to bet on EMLS. But anyway, they're talking about gambling, right? And this really is the gambling sort of breaking through into professional sports, and it was as a result of the Supreme Court ruling that basically you can't just have these little pockets of gambling like Las Vegas and Atlantic City, and all that. It's everywhere, and really as that becomes more and more evident. Which, by the way, I've always been a proponent of legalized gambling. If you want to gamble on sports, have fun. I consider those voluntary taxes, like the lottery.
Okay,
lottery is a voluntary tax, right? It's sort of like, hey,
well, where does that money go? It's supposed to be going to education. Does it really?
Hey, I would don't. That's a whole nother story.
That's a whole nother.
Okay.
Hey, it's an off week. Let's dive into where our lottery money goes and why our public schools are underfunded. All right, we lost 7 listeners right now on the live stream.
Everybody's dropping off. They're already falling asleep. We can talk about the gas tax too.
There
There's 22 cents that isn't accounted for. All that stuff. No, but whenever you look at this, I consider them voluntary taxes. Plus, there is a form of entertainment that's there. Yes. I am not somebody who likes to gamble. This isn't sort of one of the things that I do on a regular basis. If I go to Vegas and throw some money down on a game, it is totally for entertainment value. It is not like I'm trying to do anything. But this is a big deal, and there's a big deal for a bunch of different reasons. One, because of the money potentially that could be drawn into MLS from this.
That's the positive. That's a positive.
I will tell you right now. I know this for a fact, as a matter of fact. As a matter of fact, it's a fact. There are people who literally say, or who literally spend, hundreds of thousands of dollars betting on Major League Soccer games. There are people who do that across the world. That is happening.
Get off my back, Mom. If I want to bet my life savings on Major League Soccer, let me do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's my legal right.
And you can do it. A lot of it comes from the United Kingdom.
Yep.
Betting on all sorts of soccer games there. They actually have. Whenever I went to go see Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, I went in there and they have betting booths inside the stadium.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
When you watch the Premier League and the Championship, every third sponsor is a betting sponsor,
well,
and it's all a different site. I mean,
they sponsor teams.
Yes.
I mean, straight up teams. This isn't like, oh, hey, yeah, we're sort of sponsoring off to this. We just sponsor the stadium. No, right across the team. And that's how it goes. So and a lot of this comes from Asia as well.
Mm-hmm.
Huge betting going on in Asia.
If it's not a British betting site, it's an Asian
Asian betting site.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so you look at all these things. So there's a ton of money that's in this. Now, there are some pluses and some minuses on all of this betting stuff. I think for me, one of the big thing is, what does this partnership do for the league is that it puts the league sort of ahead of some of the other major sports that are doing this stuff in the United States in terms of having those betting partnerships.
And it shines a light on the league because now when you go to an MGM resort, having, LA Galaxy there and having, all the, your Atlanta Uniteds, when you have these franchises popping up there for name recognition, that's going to open up the league.
Yeah, it should, and it should be bringing some financial for the teams and for the league itself. Yes. If it's single entity, any money the league gets also benefits the teams overall in a general sense. So that's something. One of the things you have to look at, though, is that for, what does this do for MLS players? That starts to be a little more of a question mark.
That goes back to the funding thing. If the league is making money off of these partnerships, are the players benefiting from it? And when you look at MLS salaries, and when the union releases those salaries, MLS players on the minimum do not make a lot of money. So if you're talking about a young player, and I'm not naming any names, I don't want to put anyone on the spot, but if there's a young player who's maybe making around 80,000, 90,000, and they have a starting role on a team, and it leaves itself open to some scary things that, you hear about corruption all over the world with match fixing. And I think that happens when you have your players who are not paid substantially, they are susceptible to probably make an impact if they can make their money elsewhere. So that's the dangerous thing. If they are making money, they need to make sure that their players are taken care of so they're not open to some of those scandals that are likely to happen.
Yeah, and this is something, I read a book like 2 years ago.
You wrote a book?
I wish. No. I don't have that kind of patience. Oh. That's some follow through. I don't think I have. I can barely get through hour of.
I was going to say text to speech.
Yeah, exactly. Just dictate it. I read a book that talked about match fixing and how it really happens, and I would be amazed by now if it hadn't already happened in Major League Soccer. It's too easy to do. It's one of those crazy things that you sort of have to, say, okay, it's probably happening, but that means that for the players and for the leagues that they're going to have to go in there and sort of say, okay, these are the rules for this, right? You really have to start clamping down on this, and it means a lot more monitoring by the league of how this betting is going and whether the betting, sort of raises any red flags in terms of the patterns.
Looking at situations as they happen in games, I don't know what the lines. I haven't bet on soccer, so I really can't tell you how exactly. So I don't know if there's over-unders or goals scored or how it all works. But you need to be careful when you see suspect plays happen and it affects the betting line. And it happens in football a lot, college sports in particular. And so when you see these strange things happen, it's just something to keep an eye on. And they do need to have, if they are going to have this partnership, then they need to have someone who's going to watch after it.
I'll say this, though. Whenever you get onto what does this do for the fans, this has the highest potential for positivity as far as I'm concerned, because all of the stuff we complain about, not understanding injuries, all of the bad game information that we get constantly has to go by the wayside. It's one of the reasons that the NFL has mandated injury reports, and it says whether or not a player pay or took part in practice every day, or if they took part in some practice, or if they didn't take part in any practice. That happens every single day, and it's reported by a third party, not necessarily for somebody who works for the team. So it's one of those things that you look at and say, okay, so if MLS is going to go down this path of really encouraging betting, then their information and the way that they hand that information to us has to be better, because right now it is a joke, and we're certainly going to talk more about how it is a joke right now.
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest betting leagues right now is the NFL. And, there's weather reports 7 days out. So you know what the weather's going to be like on the field, who's injured. There are ways around it. I mean, you do have like your Bill Belichick's who just everyone's on.
You can
everyone's
lie.
injured, and everyone's people who are healthy aren't healthy, and so there are ways around this, and it's maybe won't be totally transparent, but the first step is at least making it a mandate, and that does push. It puts the pressure on a little more, because right now there's no incentive for any team to share information. I mean, if we had a player who had an injured Achilles, why would we share that information?
What's the benefit?
What's the benefit of it?
It besides keeping a
I'm
fan base.
I'm hypothetically speaking.
Obviously,
that's not a real situation.
I mean,
that's crazy.
Why would it benefit your fan base to know what's going on with one of your top paid players and one of the highest paid players? Oh, no, the highest paid player in Major League Soccer. Just hypothetical. Well, why would it benefit you to do that? And here's the thing. I really, really believe, and I remember when MLS mandated these things. I remember Bruce Arena getting fined for not disclosing somebody's injury.
Yeah.
And that's something that continues to needs to happen right now.
And I'll tell you what, if the big money is coming in gambling, and that's so funny to say this, Major League Soccer, the big money is coming in. But if money is coming in and these injuries aren't being disclosed, the blood is gonna be on someone's hand, and hopefully not literally, but
yeah, I was gonna say easy on the.
I don't know which mob circles listen to the show, but there's going to be people pushing for injuries to be disclosed, because you can't give an unfair advantage like that.
No, and that's the unfair advantage, though. I mean, can we quantify that just a little bit? Because how much is it if Major League Soccer coaches are scouting through the league, as in the league mandates?
Okay,
if that's fine, you can understand that. But if they're not already scouting, like, there's no way that Portland doesn't know whether or not Zlatan isn't playing or not.
Yeah.
I mean, they know that. Well, I mean, they have guys who are going to go out to the field and be like, okay, is he there? Is that how it's going to go?
Fire up the drone.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what you expect, though, and you expect to see those types of things from Major League. It needs to get better, and it certainly is. I mean, the part of this sponsorship agreement is going to say, and they say it's enhanced MLS data for fans and sports betting customers.
Yeah, like I said, you're going to get all this data that you didn't know existed. When you talk about analytics in basketball and baseball, that's because of betting, is because all these analytics sway the game. And so, yeah, you're going to get more analytics in the sport, which I think is a good thing.
Television visible signs for all 100-plus nationally broadcast games. Unique MLS-themed promotions and sweepstakes utilizing MLS prizing. Match footage and photography. MLS talent and a host of mutually beneficial hospitality and event opportunities in Las Vegas and beyond. In addition, MGM, MLS, and Roar Digital will develop a free-to-play game for fans to deepen fan engagement, drive adoption of sports betting in regulated states, and build a base of potential sports bettors in states where regulation is still to be adopted.
We're going to sink our claws in, and we're going to give you just a little taste, get the free game, and then we're going to get you to put the money in. Yeah, classic Vegas stuff.
It's good stuff. I mean, whenever you see it. So look for a game. I mean, there's going to be something that comes out that's going to get you a little bit hooked, and it may not cost you anything because it says it's free.
Yeah.
But eventually that's going to lead to be like,
Freemium.
hey, do you want to, you did pretty good last week.
Yeah.
Do you want to pay $10 on this? I mean, it starts to get into, like the DraftKings stuff where it doesn't cost you a ton of money to do.
Yeah. $5 league. Hey, tell a friend, let's get, 10 people in here, you can win $50. Of course, whatever the hosting site, they're the ones who really make the bulk of that money, but you walk away with a little something, and exactly, DraftKings model, that's something that's easily the type of thing
Vegas is all over that. They're going to be like, okay, listen, we're not going to let this. I mean, you have to understand that Vegas has been, sort of that captive audience, and so Atlantic City, same thing. But they've sort of been these little areas where they've been like, okay, we know. And as soon as they found out that it was going, now they're going after everybody. Yeah. So they're going to look at this as an opportunity and not necessarily a disadvantage for Vegas. MLS Players Association came out with a response to this deal. The MLS Players Association, obviously the union that backs the MLS players, says MLS's sponsorship agreement with MGM and sports betting in general will generate additional revenues. At the same time, sports betting presents a significant attendant challenges for players that need to be addressed by MLS and state and federal legislatures. Players' rights and protections must be clearly defined in this new landscape. The MLSPA has been working closely with other players' associations and with the league to both understand and mitigate any negative impact of sports betting on players. We will continue to work to assure that the players have a seat at the table and that their concerns are understood and addressed. So again, the sort of negative side of that, which is, hey, could this actually be one of the things?
And if this is happening in leagues across the world, there's a way to do it. Obviously, you're never going to be perfectly clean, but again, in the end, it's going to bring revenue, and that's what talks. Money talks, and if it brings revenue in, then of course the league is gonna back and be behind it. But of course, the players' union, that's the statement they should be making, is that they're going to keep an eye on and making sure that their players have a seat at the table and they're taken care of. But speaking of betting, who are we going to bet on? Which is the first club that's going to be involved in the betting scandal? Who's likely to
Vancouver, and they're outside of the U.S. Yeah, it's gonna make it 100%.
Think it's Vancouver.
Who could it be?
I don't know. I feel like NYCFC.
You think
feels slimy,
it does feel dirty. But it just doesn't feel.
They don't need the money. They've got oil money.
It's going to be like Real Salt Lake, right?
Yeah.
It's one of the sort of
you'd never see coming.
No, you're going to be surprised by it. They're like, in Utah? They're like, yeah. They offered him some alcohol
on a Sunday after lights out.
That's how it works. No, so anyway, that's sort of the thing with this. I think this is a great deal. I really do. I think eventually it works. Listen, you can say what you want, but England isn't like this giant match fixing
that's true.
Like area where you're sitting there going, and they probably have more betting than almost any. It's at least at the forefront than most other places. I'm sure around the world they bet on everything.
And I'd imagine there's a lot of regulations in place with how hard they push it. You can't push it that hard without having checks and balances in place.
Let's see. Let's go through a little bit of stats that I was able to drill up here before we go. Just some fun stuff that I found as I was going through it, all of it. One of the first stats that I have is that there are only 2 teams, by the way, that have 0 points so far through the year. They're both in the Western Conference.
And I like where you're going with this.
One of them is Vancouver Whitecaps, who we just mentioned, and the other one is the San Jose Earthquakes. Both of those teams have lost all 3 of their first 3 games. There's a couple teams who've only played 2 games, but they have already scored points, so it doesn't matter. That's it. It's just that's interesting to see already. They're already, it feels like
when you start hearing the terms historically bad next to these teams, makes you feel good as an LA Galaxy fan, but it is concerning given the Galaxy's form against struggling teams in years past. So
hasn't been good.
We'll pump the brakes until we take care of business.
One of the other things that popped up while I was doing research is if you look at the LA Galaxy's home points, they played 2 games, they've gotten 2 wins, they're perfect at home so far, 6 points from 2 games.
100%.
In 2017, they gained a total of 14 points at home. That was it, 14 points. So if you look at it, the 6 points is already 42.8% of the way to that total of 2017. Now, in 2018, they finished with 28 points.
Okay.
So that's something to watch. And on average, the LA Galaxy have finished with just under 30 points at home every year. So last year, even though it was okay, it was average.
Yeah.
When you look at it. Some of the top home scoring year of all time. Do you know which year it was? Top
2012.
No.
2011?
Yeah.
Okay.
2011, 41 points at home.
2010 to 2012, I think you're safe to, whatever the records are, those are the years that you want to, if you're placing your bets at MGM Resorts, that's where you want to place your bets.
That's where you want. That's a good one to go. 6 of 24 seasons. So of the 24 seasons the LA Galaxy have been around, 6 of those 24 seasons have had a better start. And so they got a better start in 2013 when they had 7 points through 3 games.
Okay.
Only 2010 and 1996 did they start 3-0.
Wow.
So that's interesting.
We need to look into the archives. Are any of those shootout wins?
Yeah, I'm sure. If you go back and you can't, whenever MLS stopped the shootout, there's like the modern era and there's the shootout era. You always have to demark it.
Yeah.
I always forget. I used to have it marked on one of the charts that I had, and I don't have that chart in front of me, so I don't remember. It was like 2001, 2002. Was it that late, or was it?
Sure.
It may have even been 99, 2000. I don't remember, but I had
99.
I had it marked down for that. So of that, 9 of 24 seasons, the Galaxy have had 6 points or more through 3 games. So 9 of those 24, which means that 15 other seasons have started worse off than what the Galaxy have started.
This is promising.
After 3 games, trying to draw long-term conclusions to any of this stuff is hysterical.
We're winning MLS Cup.
Yeah. The LA Galaxy currently have had designated players play only 46.9% of the total available minutes.
Do you have last year's? What was the... Because I think that was in the neighborhood, right?
Yeah, it was right around there.
Yeah.
I think it ended up being about 60%, but it was driven by Roman, and it was driven by Jonathan Dos Santos, obviously.
And Jonathan he was on the World Cup break as well, so yeah. I thought it was lower.
It may have been. I can
it's
possibly.
It's all right. It's an off week. We got time.
I'll tell you.
Want to hear the story about how I got my birth? No.
This one time at band camp. No, it's just all of these stats and trying to look at these things I think are always interesting. But then, like, people are already asking me for that stats article that I do. They're like, oh, you need to do one of those articles. I'm like, calm down. 3 games is
no
tough.
one's asking you for that.
Yeah, no, they did. I swear to God. 50.7 was the designated player. So it was only slightly higher.
Yeah,
so
not much,
right,
but in the neighborhood.
Whenever you added Zlatan and Ola Kamara to it, it ended up being 63.5%.
Yeah, that's the cheat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, it's a cheat way of doing it. I had to try to make it look somewhat better. Yeah. So anyway, so that's sort of the stats that I went over. There's nothing that's too foreign. If you went right now, the LA Galaxy on pace to score 57 point something goals and give up 57.7 goals. So
that's what happens. Goal differential of 0.
And you try to predict it out over 34 games. It's simple math, and it gives you no information, but it's always fun to do.
Yeah. The promising thing about this and being undefeated at home, I know it's been 2 games. Said it after the first game, and after being at the second game, there is a different feel at the home games. And I don't know how to quantify that or how you measure that, but it just seems like, Dignity Health Sports Park may be a place where opponents are not going to have an easy time coming into, because it just feels different. There's a different aura in that stadium when teams come in there. And again, 2 games, small sample size, but from what I've witnessed and from what I've seen, it seems like the players, they definitely had a different showing at home than they've done on their one road trip.
Well, before we get to our COG madness here, I want to get everybody updated on injuries and go a little bit over training. Training has been a little hit and miss here over the last couple days just because of the wind and the rain. Larry went there, I believe, Larry Morgan, not on Twitter, went over to training on, or was going to go over to training on Tuesday, and was told that they were only going to do gym sessions inside. Maybe some of the guys would be outside, so it wasn't really worth going. So that was fine. And then they went to, and then he went to training on Thursday. Thursday, wind and rain, but the Galaxy did have an inter-squad scrimmage today. I don't know who won. I don't know what the teams were.
The blue team. The blue team
won. Yeah, the LA Galaxy remain undefeated in that one. So anyway, they.
I'm sorry, Night Navy. Night Navy won.
Whatever. But anyway, so you go in and you look at who trained today. Zlatan Ibrahimovic not on the field. We'll get to that in a second. Roman Alessandrini was on the field, trained off to the side, did not participate in the intra-squad. Juninho back to full training. Perry Kitchen's still out. We're just going to not mention him for a while because he's still out. Whenever he comes back, we'll know more.
Yeah. We know, according to his Instagram, again, if you're following @Galaxy Profile on Instagram, Perry Kitchen wants to come back. He's missing it. Juninho posted he is coming back soon.
Yes.
So he's expecting to come back.
Larry, if you go to cornerofthegalaxy.com and you click on his story, his Galaxy notebook that just came up, you will see right there that he did and get a chance to talk to Juninho regarding his injury and everything else. So I have some quotes from Juninho. Might as well read those to you. Juninho says regarding the injury, it was his left knee cartilage. It's been bothering me for years. When I started training here, I started feeling it and I stepped out. I started making plans to be back out here as soon as possible. Today, I feel great. It's good to be back on the pitch, doing what I love, being part of this team. That's why I'm here. He goes on to say, no surgery, just the therapy to get it strong. Now I'm fully healthy. I'm getting close to 100%. I think I'll be able to help as soon as the coach calls me. He goes on to say, I was not expecting at all to be out that long. Honestly, I was thinking at the start I would be fully healthy, being part of the team and being able to contribute much quicker, but you never know. The knee started bothering me. That's why I stepped out. The season is a long one, and I think I have a lot to contribute to the team. I'm just looking forward to my opportunities. That's the way it is. Hopefully the coach looks for me, and I'll be 100%. And so really, I mean, he goes, it sort of feels like old times. He goes, that's why I'm here, to contribute to the team. And he says, did you see me today? I was getting back in shape.
Did you see that? Hey, Mom, look at me.
Did you watch me? Larry's out there. So he's talking to Larry. He says, did you see me today? I was getting back in shape. The knee is not bothering me at all anymore. That's a good point to be. I hope as soon as I have the opportunity, I can step on the field again. Guillermo Barros-Schelotto talking about injuries. This one in particular, and we'll have more follow-ups. Zlatan Ibrahimovic did not trained inside, according to the LA Galaxy, although nobody was there to actually see him training, so who knows whether he was training or not.
I've been a hologram.
It could have been. That's cool. You could get a Zlatan hologram. I bet he would buy a Zlatan hologram.
Zlatan hologram would finish 5th in the Golden Boot for Major League Soccer.
Absolutely. Probably so. Yeah. I think that would happen. With it. Only slightly lower than the actual Zlatan. The Zlatan hologram would break all the records.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Guillermo Barros-Schelotto, speaking about Zlatan, he says, I think we give him one week more to stay out and get the recovery 100% before we start training again on Tuesday. We're thinking about the game with Portland. I think he'll be fine to play. Roman is fine. David Bingham, who has not trained this week, felt something in his leg against Minnesota, but he'll be okay. So little Bingham update.
Maybe,
all right.
Maybe that's why he let that goal in.
Yeah, let's see. I'm trying to see if there's anything else. There's a whole bunch of stuff here from Guillermo Barcelona we can get into if we want to. But
well, I will say with Juninho, it's a good sign that he's feeling healthy. The one worrisome part of that quote that it's something that's been bothering me for years. So if it's something that's a lingering injury, knee cartilage, if he didn't have surgery to repair it, then it is something that may be a concern later on in the season. That's the concern. The good thing is if he is closer to 100%, the timing is very good because with Leggett and Jonathan both out with international duty, depending on rest or how things may go, Juninho may need to slot himself in sooner, given that our core of the midfield is out with their national teams right now. So that's the pluses and minuses from Juninho. With what GBS said about Zlatan, we'll give him a little bit of a pass, but I think we need to teach him what 100% means. 100% means zero chance that it's not going to happen. So 100% that he'll be training, but I think he'll be ready for Portland. So is that 100%? Is that not 100%? So that's where it gets a little in that gray area.
Kevin called me from Orlando, where he's covering the U.S. men's national team, and will be headed to Houston whenever they go play that next game. Or actually, maybe he won't be. Maybe he's going to Mexico. I can't remember. He's switching up at one point and going to cover the Mexican national team as well. Here's the deal, is that he called me. He says, I'm getting beat up again because everybody thinks I'm being negative about Zlatan's injury.
People are mean to the Panda?
All the
I haven't seen it.
It's, it's one of those things that's like the pay isn't enough for this. And it's like we don't get paid to deal with people who are just going to be idiots all the time.
Hit a little lethal weapon. I'm getting too old for this.
Yeah, I am. Sometimes I think that's true. But, he was saying, I'll tell you this, and I'm on Kevin's side on this one. I think, Eric, here on our side as well. Okay. The information that we've received about Zlatan Ibrahimovic is nothing. You've received no information about Zlatan Ibrahimovic because the team really hasn't released anything. When asked whether it was his right Achilles or his left Achilles, the LA Galaxy didn't know. When asked what the injury was, Guillermo Barcelona says that he says, it's a tweak. I believe that was what actually came out today, was that it was a tweak. What does a tweak mean? There were rumors and concerns that there was a tear of this Achilles. And whether or not that's true or not, we have no way of knowing. A tweak is not a diagnosis. Mm-hmm. A tweak is anecdotal evidence that is sort of like, I tweaked my arm.
Yeah, I tweaked my back.
I tweaked my back. I tweaked my ankle. That type of thing. Those are small knocks. Small knocks do not keep a player out of 2 games now, and out of training for 3 weeks?
Yeah, it's if he comes back on the 31st, it will have been 29 days since Zlatan had last played. And so I would love to disagree with you to make good pod and say, no, he's fine, everything's okay. But I'm in 100% agreement. Again, listening, Guillermo, 100%. I agree 100% that this doesn't tell us anything because the tweak, what was it, a strain? Was it a bruise? Was it a tear? That doesn't release any information. So I know there are a lot of people saying, hey, looks like he's going to be back. This is a good sign.
And he could be.
And the Galaxy are 100%. We're back, baby. Everything's going to, coming up roses. But again, proceed with caution. He's been out for a long time. This is at his age, and this type of injury, it's just something to monitor. If he does come back, it doesn't mean that the Achilles is no longer a concern. You still have to keep an eye on it. It's still something that he needs to be careful with because we don't know how serious it really is.
Yeah, there's been no information. Remember that Guillermo was, and this is what we were told, that if, and we were relayed this information, that if Zlatan really had to play, he could have played against Dallas. And if he really needed to play, he could have played against Minnesota. And now it's, if he really needed to train, he could have trained, out this week. And by the way, we were told he was expected to be back in training. Now, does that mean he was doing no training whatsoever? Nothing, which by the way, was never communicated, that he was just completely MIA and absent from training at all. Is that one of the things that sort of comes in there? Or was it that, again, the injury is more severe? You have been given zero information so far besides just sort of, everything's fine.
But the club controls the narrative here because when there were, it seems like the club is aware of what people are clamoring for and what they want to see. And, you saw pictures of Roman out at training, running. So if Zlatan's inside, Here's a picture of him on a bicycle. Here's a picture of him in his Galaxy training gear. You can control the narrative here if that's the case. But when you don't see it, that's where the concerns start to come. When you see an Instagram post of a lion laying on its back, and that's Zlatan saying, "This is me right now," I don't read that as a positive thing, that he feels like he's laid out on his back. I don't think that's a good thing. But hopefully we're just being pessimists. We're looking at this the negative way, and he's fine, and he can come back for Portland, and everything will be great, and he's back. But it doesn't seem that way, because if he were healthy, you would think that would be announced and you wouldn't be referencing a tweak right now.
Well, ultimately, and I'm almost sure that I'll get an email or a text message whenever this all comes out. Ultimately, we're going to look like we're wrong.
Yes.
All right, because we're sitting here questioning, speculating and giving the small amount of information that we have. We're getting that, and we're trying to tell a story with it, and that's always hard to do. And the fact is that, you know, when you're not given answers about something that when you're reporting, when you're looking at any of this stuff, you have to trust your gut. Is there more there? Does something doesn't feel right? Usually I can say, hey, what's this guy's injury? And they're like, oh, it's a hamstring, right hamstring.
Or Perry Kitchen. He's out in a boot. You know which leg it is. It's not being hidden. You know that he's going to be out for a considerable amount of time.
And again, I'm predicting that I'm going to be wrong on this.
He'll come back the 31st, and they're going to say, I told you so.
And they'll be like, we told you it was fine. And the whole time, but really, they've told you nothing. So if you're sitting there thinking, oh, you know, positive, happy thoughts, that's cool, because they have led you to think that you're able to do that. Because of the stuff that they've given you. But I can also say that if you're out there thinking negative thoughts and thinking that you haven't been given, you're right, you haven't been given the information.
And again, going back to the Galaxy controlling the narrative here, he's had, you know, at least 14 days to rest on it, and now he'll have additional time, basically another 2 weeks to prep for it. So again, if he does need this recovery time, this is the time, you know, why worry your fans if it's something in 2 weeks he'll be fine? Why, put it out there and say it's a strain, we're worried about it, we're keeping an eye on it. Why worry your fans when in a couple weeks it will be okay? And then, you could say we were right all along. He was fine.
I'll tell you this, that if I'm the LA Galaxy and he just played against Dallas and he played against Minnesota, that I shut him down for this week anyway, because there's no point to having what are you going to do, Zlatan? Zlatan, we need you for the no. We don't need you at all. Go vacation. I don't care where you go. Don't come here.
Go to Paddle Center, whatever that is. He keeps posting about that.
Really?
Yeah.
What is it? Where is it?
I think it's back in Sweden.
Sweden?
Yeah. I think it's like a fitness center or some type of
like a 24-hour fitness.
Yeah, I don't know, like a squash. I don't know. I haven't done the research. I'll dig into that. Here's my homework.
You just threw it out, and now you're leaving me with more questions than answers.
I'm just following. This is something that he's been promoting.
This feels like. Do you work for the LA Galaxy?
I do not.
You're giving me no information.
I'm trying to funnel people into @Galaxy Profile on Instagram. That's where I'm funneling my energy here.
Whatever you want to do, you go ahead and do that. All right, so yeah, that's what it is. Again, March 31st game, which will be played on the anniversary of the first LA Galaxy versus LAFC game.
El Tráfico. Let's call it what it is. It's El Tráfico.
Yeah, Bob Bradley. I don't know. I went on ESPN with Dave Denholm, my good buddy Dave.
Oh, careful there with the celebrity drop. I was on ESPN.
That was a name drop for sure. I was just saying. I did that a couple weeks ago, and he said, "Hey, what do you think about the name?" And Dave has always been against the El Tráfico name.
Yeah.
But he's also against VAR. I pay him almost no attention to some of it. There's a couple of his opinions that I'm just like, dude, you're so far off base on it. It's not even funny. And he knows that we disagree completely.
Yeah.
So anyway, he was like, I've always liked, I think, like the 12-mile derby or whatever it is, because
I don't want a derby and I don't want a classic.
And that's sort of what I said to him. I said, number one is you don't get to rename a game that you've never won. Okay. So Bob Bradley can't sit there and go, oh, well, I think it should be renamed. Yeah. Okay, well, Bob, win a game.
Yeah.
It's one of those. And two, we've already done this. This was already a thing. People threw out names and everybody was like, oh, it's El Tráfico.
Yeah. And it caught on. And that's one of those things, and I did hear from people, because I did some commenting on this, and it just, there are people who don't like it, but it is what it is now. You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. So I think even if you didn't like the name to begin with, it's El Tráfico, and it is what it is now.
Okay, I think we have one of our Sweden listeners.
There he is. Paddle Center. What is Paddle Center?
He says, it's right here in Sweden.
Okay.
It's Paddle Center that him and Pogba opened.
Perfect.
Okay, so
see
now, is it like paddle tennis? Is this
chat
paddle
room?
tennis?
Let us know. Paddle tennis?
Because I'm all about paddle tennis.
I'm assuming there's some paddles involved.
We need to go to Sweden and play paddle tennis.
Done and done.
I'm there. Well, maybe we can get like an invite from Zlatan. Do you think maybe we could be
I think if Sports Expressen is listening, we'll take the trip to do the story on Paddle Center.
They should fly us over there. We'll
That's
do a
what I'm saying.
podcast from the
That's
Paddle
what I'm
Center.
saying. I'm available.
I'm in. Yeah, I'm available.
Listen,
I'm available.
That California lottery money isn't exactly putting a lot of money in my bank account.
Bjorn Borg was also involved in the Paddle Center. Famous tennis player pulling.
Yeah.
I was pulling.
The Swedish tennis player. Yeah.
There you go. So yeah, there we go. Okay, good stuff. Good stuff. Yes, and yes, it is paddle tennis. All right.
Perfect.
We're in. Just send us the flight information. We are on our way. Andy Pandy, right there.
There you go.
Andy, can we come stay on your couch?
Airbnb. We're coming for you, Andy.
That's right. All right. So lots of fun. All right. Let's get into our fun thing then. We're pretty much done. Let's go. Let me give you. Before I said that,
All right.
before, just again, more
Preemptive.
LA Galaxy news before we get into our, Corner of the Galaxy madness and our brackets and something that you're going to be able to play along with eventually whenever we figure out how we're going to do that. But we're going to do it. The LA Galaxy will play against the Portland Timbers on March 31st. It's a Sunday game, 6 p.m., Dignity Health Sports Park, ESPN2. Portland Timbers have allowed 10 goals in their last 3 games, and they have 12 road games to start the season. They don't get to go back to Portland till June.
Yeah.
That's nuts. That's crazy. They're adding the upper deck into that stadium.
It's funny with the renovations that they're doing. I didn't think it was going to be that long of a break because it's a renovation. They're not rebuilding the stadium from scratch. So it's interesting how that's working. How long that they're out.
Yeah. All interesting. All right. Let's get ready to rumble. I think somebody has that copyrighted. I probably can't say that. I'll probably have to pay money for whatever.
All apologies to the Buffer family.
That's right. So we'll do it. Let's go to the Corner of the Galaxy Madness. What we have, if you're watching on YouTube, and if not, what you can do is go to our website eventually, and we're going to have this bracket up and a way for you to vote and all sorts of fun things. We'll figure out how that all works, but for right now, you're going to want to check it out. What we have done, what the Hammer has done, I was just like, this is a great idea.
Prep.
Yeah, this is just a great idea because we needed some time to burn on the show for sure, with a no game preview really that we can do. So and not a huge news week.
I was going to say, I think you don't want me to do the game preview anymore after the last one.
Yeah. That's I think you're done with that. See what happens when you beat the boss.
That's why I had to bring my own content today.
You don't get to play anymore. Yeah, otherwise you wouldn't get to talk. What Eric has done is ranked the top 16. What he's determined, and with some input from me, the top 16 storylines of the 2019 series so far. And so one of the some of these that are out there, the Geo buyout. We're going to go over the bracket here in a second. But what we have is like the Geo buyout, or the Guillermo Barros-Schelotto effect. The GBS twins, right?
Yeah.
Both of those, the Schelotto twins.
Gustavo.
Oh, crazy. Valdecantos is in there. Efrain's breakout there. Defensive upgrades, as I called it, the nose, with Sebastian Leget's broken nose. So we're going to go over but there were some that didn't make the cut, Eric.
Yes, so there were some honorable mention. And again, shout out to everyone who contributed. And it's kind of the fun thing. When I put this out there to crowdsource a little bit, a lot of the ideas that we got were already kind of floating around. And so it was nice to just get confirmation that this is kind of what the people want to hear. But a couple people, shout out to Trevor Lane at Trevor_Lane. So the Lakers Nation. I know he likes to comment on a lot of on Twitter on a lot of our Galaxy content. And then of course Madam Serrano, the outsider.
He's in the chat room right now.
So some good stuff. So some honorable mention. Night Navy was out there. We didn't feel like it was big enough to crack the top 16. The loans, with my beloved João Pedro being loaned out with Bradford Jameson, Ariano. The loans could have been a story on there. Didn't make it. Zlatan saying that he was going to break every MLS record. I think the other Zlatan story was more worthy of being in the rankings than that. The facial hair wars, again, that's Trevor Lane there. Who has the best facial hair? Sebastian Leget, Roman Alessandrini, or Zlatan. So we just didn't think that made it. And then the last one, someone said hidden $7 25-ounce IPAs. Now, I don't know where those are. If those are at the Diggity $7 beers, please at me. Let me know where that's happening because it says hidden. So didn't crack the top 16, but please at me at GIS Hammer on Twitter or at Galaxy Profile on Instagram. Where are the $7 beers? I want to know. But that's honorable mention. They didn't make the cut for the official seedings.
Yeah, so what we did, and by the way, one of the ones that I think dropped out of this that I think we missed, and maybe we'll have to go back and redo is Kamara's trade.
China. Oh, that was in my original.
That was in your original.
Yeah,
that was one of the ones. It didn't make it into the big one. Ooh, all right, that's how it goes. Okay, so we go through, and we'll just give you the matchups as we go, and then we're going to try to quickly sort of move through this and give you what our picks are. right?
All right,
And
yeah.
then we'll be able to
Put it up to you.
This is not an official ending right now, but we're going to certainly talk about some of these. And maybe we just give some hints as to where it goes, and then we can discuss this at a future show as well.
Yeah, we're going to give our recommendations on what we think, but then we're going to leave it up to the people to make the final call.
Yep. All right. So our number 1 versus number 16, and these are ranked 1 through 16, and 1 and 16 play each other. The Giovanni Dos Santos buyout is a number 1 seed, and it was the biggest story. Whether or not it makes it to the championship, however, will be interesting, and it has a tough matchup in the first round. That's right. It will face off against number 16, Cosmo 2.0. This is really, really an interesting sort of thing that I see right now. And one of the reasons is, what is going to have a longer-term effect on the LA Galaxy? Will the Geo buyout affect the Galaxy for years to come, or the fact that Cosmo 1.0 is being phased out? And if that's news to you, I apologize. I don't mean to just bring it up and scare everybody.
Jeez.
But at the same time, Cosmo 2.0 is going to be taking over here eventually, as Cosmo 1.0 is certainly there. So, GeoBio, Cosmo 2.0. For me, I'm already leaning towards Cosmo 2.0 being a much... Well, let's figure this way. The LA Galaxy could afford to pay Giovanni Dos Santos $6-point-something million, or whatever that buyout number is, to leave, but they can't pay Cosmo enough to be a full-time job.
What I'm hearing is Cosmo 1.0, $1 million salary.
Right?
Minimum. So... where I think impact on the team, had they extended him, which it sounded like wasn't what they wanted to do, that could have had long-term effects on the team. And so the fact that they were able to get away from that, Cosmo 2.0, feel like there's some learning that can be done on the job. So I think Geo is the better story. I think that should be 16 seeds going to give them some scares, but ultimately Geo buyout takes it home.
All right. So that's we'll see how everybody ends up voting on that. Then we have a number 9 versus number 8. This is on the left side of the bracket.
It's on the west.
Yeah, in the west. On the west. Out of the west. Number 9, Caleb Porter versus number 8, Guillermo Barros-Schelotto effect. So basically bringing in GBS.
Yeah.
What effect that has had on the LA Galaxy, or the effect of missing out on Caleb Porter. These go hand in hand with each other. Which one is more important right now?
Whoever created this bracket, what a great pairing to put these next to each other. So it basically comes down to, what do you think was a bigger deal? Do you think it was a bigger deal, the fact that they missed on Caleb Porter, or that Caleb Porter played the Galaxy, depending on how you look at it? Or is it a bigger deal of how Guillermo Barros-Schelotto is running things? So if you think how GBS is running the ship, I think that's more important, or the fact that they dodged the Caleb Porter, if they dodged that bullet, if you think that they were better off because of that, and maybe a different coach, as long as it wasn't Caleb Porter, that was a good thing. So it depends on where you lean. I think when you look at who Schelotto's brought in, I think GBS effect, the 8 takes down the 9 seed easily.
All right. Charles in the chat room says that, according to somebody on Reddit, who I'm not going to read their screen name because I'm sure I'm going to screw it up, on the LA Galaxy
show. Remember that too.
Yeah, exactly. It says, next to the video game screen by the southeast entrance, that they have 25-ounce IPAs for $7.
And I discovered the video game screen. I found it last time too, so I know where that is.
Okay, there you go.
Done and done. Thank you, sir.
Okay, there we go.
Salute to you,
all right,
my good man.
So Caleb Porter and GBS. So for me, I tend to lead for the underdog, the number 9 seed here, as missing out on Caleb Porter was way more important to the Galaxy's success.
Set the dominoes in play?
Well, even that, but I mean, even so, if it wasn't Guillermo Barros-Schelotto, there probably would have... You dodged Caleb... I was not excited about Caleb Porter coming into the LA Galaxy. I just didn't think that was going to be, and we'd been told it was so close when it came down. So anyway, that's how I lean on that one. All right. Let's go to number 4, Dennis DeClosa coming in.
Yes.
Versus number 13, Klein. This feels like quite honestly, Chris Klein staying with the LA Galaxy versus Dennis DeClosa coming into the LA Galaxy. This feels like lopsided to me. Dennis DeClosa is the number 4 there. Seems pretty easy on my eyes.
Yeah, and it goes back to kind of that the Porter versus Schelotto effect. What do you think? Do you think it's better that DTK has taken the reins, or do you think it's better that Klein has taken a seat back? So you can argue that Klein may be a bigger impact because he's decided to step back and let DTK run the ship. But you could also say the fact that DTK is putting his stamp on the Galaxy being a better move. I think the 4 over 13, it's an easy win for DTK.
I was going to number 4 seed out of the West feels like that could be even a championship buy as well.
I could see them cruising to a Final Four.
If you want to place your bets early on the number 4, into the Elite 8, I think is easy for them. Final Four seems like that might happen as well for the number 4, Dennis DeClosa there coming out of it. Then we go to number 12 versus number 5. You have defensive upgrades, quotation marks. Have there been enough defensive upgrades?
Yep.
Is that a big enough storyline, or is the broken nose, for Sebastian Lletget, the broken nose, how big of a storyline has that been so far in this one? You could argue that is a pretty even matchup there.
Ooh, I see. This is where my upset happens. This is where the
the 12-5. I think that's why you put it. Yeah, there's always an upset in the 12-5.
I was intentional when I created this. I think the defensive upgrades beat the nose. They break the nose. How did I not get that on the first try? The defensive upgrades, because you may say they didn't really add a lot of pieces, but the shifting that they did worked.
Okay.
Shifting Shelvik out to the left,
That is
bringing in Polenta. Stairs has been playing great. Felcher's been playing great. If the Gonzalez move happens, that potentially looks like it's going to be an upgrade. So I think even though it may be a work in progress, I think the defensive upgrades are going to break the nose because he's going to be fine. He played without the mask. He's fine. He's with the national team. So I don't think it's a major story. It's not going to impact the team.
All right. We head over to the East, the right side of the bracket. Zlatan's Achilles injury at a number 2 seed versus number 15, Roman's hamstring injury. Ooh, the two injuries, the two big DP injuries there. Ramon Alessandrini has had a history of this. Zlatan Ibrahimovic was healthy last year, but picked up something this year. Obviously, we don't know how big of a deal. See, this is the thing.
Yeah.
That one, if you wait,
it's tricky.
It could be even more important. I mean, it's clear that it should be 2.
Yeah.
The number 2 seed should advance there. Zlatan's Achilles, with him being paid $7.2 million.
Yeah.
But not knowing the severity of that, I mean, is that a championship winner? Could it beat a number 1 seed if Gio gets by Cosmo?
Well, it's kind of one of those things. The Gio buyout is a number 1 seed because of the impact it has and because he's not on the team. If Zlatan's Achilles is serious, that impacts the Galaxy season in a major way. And so I think if it is serious, that can be a championship contender. But to me, I think I have another upset here. I think the hammy.
Oh, really?
I think the hammy's a bigger deal because it is a recurring thing with Roman. So it's not that he seems to be healthy now, but I think this is something that the injury may continue to happen, and that could have a bigger impact on the team.
We did not lay out our arguments for these beforehand, so this is all new information that we're hearing from each other about where we think these things are.
Spicy details.
We were actually going to pick at one point, but we really wanted you guys to get involved more than anything, so that's the thing. Now you go in with the twins, right?
Yep.
So Guillermo and Gustavo, both GBSs, by the way.
Yes.
So, the GBS twins, that makes 100% sense, as the number 10 seed, and Javier Valdecantos.
The butcher.
At a number 7 could be a semifinal.
That's my sleeper pick right there.
How can it not be? Javier Valdecantos, who sits at the front of the bench for every game.
Yes.
And one of the reasons, by the way, that I sort of have theorized on Guillermo Barros-Schelotto not saying 100% what's wrong with Zlatan Ibrahimovic is because it's not GBS's job.
Valdecantos is telling them don't say anything.
Well, not only that, but Valdecantos, this is what Valdecantos will say. Zlatan's ready.
He's fine.
He's ready. He's ready to go. He's ready. Whenever you need him, he's ready. He's not ready yet.
Yeah.
That's Valdecantos. He does all of that stuff. I mean, if you saw Javier celebrating the goal
that was
with
great.
Sebastian Lletget and everybody.
That's why he's my pick to win this, is because I said on the end line, and after halftime, he goes there with the subs, and he is relentless with the subs. And in pregame as well, what he makes the players do, his work ethic. He has a nervous energy, but in a good way, because he wants these players to succeed. And it shows no more than when the goal happened with Sebastian Lletget, and he celebrated with the guys. It meant just as much to him as to anyone else wearing that jersey. So I think Valdecantos, sleeper pick, likable guy. I could see him making it to a Final Four.
All right, so you have Valdecantos. Then you got Efrain Alvarez's breakout performance coming in, making his MLS debut, and then promptly going and getting basically 2 assists. It was 1 assist, but doing that whole thing.
2 big plays.
2 big plays as a number 3 seed against the rumors, Pato Watch, all those other rumors that you've seen. Was that a bigger storyline? Was Efrain a bigger one? It feels like it, and this seems like an easy 3-14 victory.
I think it's a lopsided one here.
Okay, but now you get down to that final match, the 11 versus 6. Again, it's an upset match. I mean, this is, if you're looking for upsets in the NCAA tournament, 11-6, in those areas, those are the ones that you look for.
Yeah.
The Beckham statue at 11, so the actual Beckham statue at number 11, versus James Corden's Beckham statue at number 6.
A higher seed.
It is, and it should be.
Yes.
It should be. To me, this feels like it might be an easy win as well. In fact, this 6 seed could climb into that Final Four. It's because you look at the other ones. Who are they going to play? They're going to play Efrain. What was the bigger storyline? Efrain's breakout or James Corden's video that I've watched 4 times already?
I was going to say this is shaping up just like I imagined. I love this. We're literally arguing about a fake statue, someone's hamstring. Good time. So again, I think the statue ranked higher because it was more well received than the actual statue. The statue, there was a lot of controversy leading up to it with Beckham being first. Obviously the unveiling was a success. People enjoyed the statue. It's a great looking statue. I got to see it up close at the last game.
You rubbed it. Just go ahead. Say you rubbed it.
I technically
like
did
the
not
hamstring.
rub it.
You were rubbing. You were rubbing the
photographed with the statue.
Okay.
But James Corden, that video again, the prank on the fact that it was a prank,
the international of
the appeal that it went viral, and I just think that was a much funnier way of making that statue a big deal than the actual statue itself. The prank here, the prank was better than the actual statue. So I could. In.
All right. So again, we're going to have that up on the website. We're going to figure out a way. Pam, who is our avid listener, who's from here but currently works in Chicago, just texted me and said if we don't put it on Twitter and let the people decide, that's the intent. Okay, good.
We're not going to make these decisions for you. We're men of the people. We're gonna leave it up to you.
Yeah, it's so certainly, Pam. There we go. We'll take care of it. Calm down.
Relax.
We'll get it. All right, we'll get it. So anyway, so that's sort of our fun bracket again. Just something to sort of fill the off week, and we're going to put those out there so that way you can take a vote on them, and we will eventually crown our winner. And I think next time Hammer comes on, which who knows, could be a month from now because he doesn't like everybody that much. He doesn't like to come on the show that much.
I'm here when I can.
Too busy. He's got like a family and kids
and a job. What's that all about?
It's ridiculous. Anyway, so we're gonna have that up. Well, look for it on the website. Look for it on Twitter. We'll try to put it out on social media. Maybe we'll figure out a way to do polls where we can combine all of those. Maybe the links to set up separate polls. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, maybe not. But
maybe not. That sounds like a lot of work. Maybe we won't do that. But we will eventually have our winner here. And of course, if you have any other suggestions of things that we also missed, you need to hit up at Galaxy Profile. You need to hit at GIS Hammer on Twitter in order to do that and get it done. All right.
And again, you get to see the lovely graphics on the live show. So if you're not watching on YouTube, you got to watch on YouTube. You got to subscribe.
They all say they couldn't read it anyway. I told them to move closer to the computer. So
I'm trying to segue into subscribe to the channel, Josh.
That was the thing.
That's what that was.
So here's the deal. So Josh went and looked up analytics on his channel because why not? That's more charts, and Josh likes charts, right? Yeah. He looks it up, and I found that 40% of you who are watching this show on YouTube are not subscribed to the channel. And if you did subscribe to the channel, that would probably put us up over 1,000. Yeah. And if you put us up over 1,000, we can then monetize these videos again, which means that we will get like $2 or $3 every couple months.
Which I will gladly take and use.
You get nothing.
The at Galaxy Profile slush fund that I'm just dying to get going. So again, subscribe on YouTube. It's a lot of fun. 40%. That's like Galaxy DP minutes that are being played. Yeah. I mean you got to subscribe. That could be a big jump. If you love the show, obviously you're watching it. It doesn't cost you anything. Hit subscribe. It's good for you. Helps us out. Helps us help you out. You get to create more brackets. You get to yell at us. It's good times.
Smash that like button, man. Smash that like button.
You watch way too many YouTube videos.
I do. Yeah. I watch way too many. Smash it. Smash it and subscribe. Then turn on your notifications. Anyway.
We'll be back for the unboxing next week. We'll be looking at the LOL surprise dolls. That's how we get more viewers. We need to go for toy reviews. Is that it? Tech reviews. We could do that. Maybe you know what? If somebody wants to send us tech to review, that's fine because I'll just keep it. It's all good. I'm sure we'll do a professional job. All right. LA Galaxy come up play on March 31st. Again, injury updates as best as we can. You've got them right there. Follow cornerofthegalaxy.com where we're going to have all the updates leading up to this Portland game on Sunday. So, it looks like Sebastian Lletget got, I think about, came in the 62nd minute. So he got some run out with that. We'll see how good both Jonathan Dos Santos and Sebastian Lletget are when they return, and certainly Larry's sort of hinting that maybe they might miss the Portland game, and yes, that is a possibility. I don't think it's going to happen. It doesn't feel that way. If they're getting 30 minutes, the best case scenario for an LA Galaxy fan is Sebastian Lletget and Jonathan Dos Santos go to their away friendlies and don't play a single minute. Obviously, that's not going to happen.
Right.
But, you hopefully get limited injuries, no minutes, if they're, or no limited minutes, no injuries, excuse me. So if they come back healthy and they didn't play full 90s, then they should be ready to go for Portland.
Yeah, and that's likely. That's what we should see. That's what you should count on. But we'll update that as we go through the week, as they return, and as the LA Galaxy get ready to host the Portland Timbers. Again, Portland Timbers have 1 draw and 2 losses on the season. Lost some bad games. One was in a blizzard. One was to FC Cincinnati. And where was the other game? I can't remember. Where'd they get their draw? I can't remember.
Where was their draw?
I can't remember. Oh, their draw was the blizzard against Colorado.
Okay,
and then they played LAFC and they lost.
Yeah, careful, you can't say that name here.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you're biased. You're biased, Josh.
I am. They lost. I voted for Carlos Vela like 2 weeks in a row for MLS Player of the Week. So you look at those and sort of pay attention. But anyway, I mean, Portland has a tough road right now.
Which I'm sure you'll touch on it next week before the preview. When things look that way, Portland doesn't look good. Galaxy undefeated at home.
Yeah,
that's usually not a good sign.
Trap game.
But again, March 31st, we have that good juju on our hands.
Trap game. So we'll see how it is. All right, everybody, enjoy your weekend. There are some MLS games being played this weekend. How many games are there? 2?
5 games. 10
really? 5
10
games?
teams are playing. Yeah.
On an international break?
And that's international break in quotes if you're Major League Soccer.
Oh my. Another reason. And this is with the condensed schedule where they're like actually supposed to be anyway. Okay, I don't want to complain anymore.
Hashtag yeah, but still.
Yeah, but still. I'll be watching, I'm sure, this weekend. So watch some MLS games, relax a little bit, and then we wait for Zlatan updates, Alessandrini updates coming in on the back half of this week as you get closer to Portland, and you should know whether or not everybody is fit and ready to go here a couple days before the game. So we'll keep you updated. A show coming up on either Sunday or Monday. I think Kevin's traveling, so it might be another Sunday show. Otherwise, we will see you again on the live show on next Thursday night. All right, Hammer, why don't you tell people where they can find you?
You can find me on Twitter at GISHammer. Have a little competition going. I'd like to get more followers than I have people following. So I'm pretty close. I'm like within 20 or 30. So help me get there. You can also follow me on Instagram at Galaxy Profile. That's Galaxy Profoul. That's where you can see your social media updates, where you can probably find out, get the scoop on what's going on with the Zlatan injury, Juninho, Roman, that whole gang. And then you could also listen to at Guys in Shorts. They're at Guys in Shorts Pod. They were without me this week, but still having fun over there. It's a fun show. Give it a listen.
All right, very good. Thank you, Hammer. If you're looking for me on Twitter, at Guesman, JGUESMAN, and of course at Galaxy Podcast, head on over to Instagram at Galaxy Podcast, cornerofthegalaxy.com. Click on the shop button. You can get the scarves, you can get the buttons, you can get all the t-shirts, all that stuff right there. Click the shop button, which I saw some orders come through while we were doing the show, so we'll ship those out tomorrow. All right, I think that about does it for Eric, the Portuguese Hammer Vieira. I'm Josh Guesman. You've been listening to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com. Have a great one, everybody.
You've been listening to the Corner of the Galaxy podcast on cornerofthegalaxy.com. You can follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Galaxy Podcast. And be sure to check out and subscribe to iTunes, Stitcher, and Facebook by searching for Corner of the Galaxy. And for all of your independent LA Galaxy news, discussion, and entertainment, including this podcast, head on over to cornerofthegalaxy.com. Fans, thanks for listening. We ask that you be kind and courteous to your neighbors as you leave the podcast. We thank you for joining us and look forward to seeing you again. Until then, I'm Michael Araujo, and on behalf of the entire Corner of the Galaxy crew, goodbye, everybody.